Hey, beautiful souls, welcome back. I'm really glad that you are here. So, this week I've been sitting with something that I think a lot of you are holding on to too, and that's what does it actually take to be ready to invest in your own healing? Not someday, not when you have more money, but right now. What needs to shift in you to stop waiting and start receiving? So I pulled some cards for myself because I'm navigating this too. And what's come up is relevant, especially if you've taken my Soul Wounds quiz but haven't taken that next step yet. So let's explore together what the Akashic Records want us to show about money, worthiness, and what it actually means to be ready. So I've already pulled the cards and asked the question. And the first card that came up was Inner Power. So this is very much about me stepping into my authority, right? Stepping into that inner power that helps me to really connect to my genius, what I'm here to do, how I'm here to show up, how I'm here to be vulnerable, how I'm here to help others step into their own inner power. Right? When we run businesses and we know that we have a purpose and a mission to help others, we need to be able to step into that inner power, right? And when I think about visibility, especially because visibility has been a big thing for me. I've worked with the witch wound, I've worked with the priestess wound, and I've learned two very distinct things from each of those woundings, in that the witch wound is that physical danger of being seen, right? Of stepping out of the closet and being seen as the full expression of myself, and that danger that my body felt as that fear of persecution, of judgment, of criticism, and fear of what will happen if I am fully visible. And when I started the business, I was terrified to do Facebook Lives and really connect in a meaningful way. And the priestess wound showed me the inconsistency, right? Inconsistency is something that I have struggled with for years. I would step forward, I would be in my power, I would go out, do things and be consistent with my social media posting, and then I would be completely exhausted that I'd have to step away for a week to get my energy back. And that is all about the emotional safety, right? So learning to understand my own energy, my own power has been a game changer for sure. But obviously, as this has come up, I've still got more to learn about being in my authority, about being who I came here to be, right? This is a journey. It's not something that can be fixed overnight. Healing is a journey. And I know that it's not about fixing me, it's about uncovering who I really am, who my soul came here to be, from the layers of protection that we put around ourselves. So, I really feel that there are more layers of protection because I can see the cards now because I've pulled them. So gratitude, this comes up a lot, and I do have a gratitude practice, but maybe I'm not focusing on the right things to be grateful for, right? So, every day I'm grateful for the house, the sunflowers in the fields all around me. I'm grateful for every sale. I'm grateful for every person that I communicate with and interact with. So this is telling me that, maybe I need to look differently at how I use my gratitude practice, right? Maybe I need to be doing more. Maybe it's not enough, right? And I do say thank you for everything that comes forwards for me. You know, I do make a point to do that. But this card hasn't just come up just to say, hey, you're great at gratitude. There's obviously something else here that I need to learn. So I need to sit with this and journal on this as to what else I need to be grateful for, what I'm missing. And as I look at the card, I'm really drawn to like the three balls that are here. They're three sacred geometry globes, let's call them. And the key to unlocking my success and what I'm working through at the moment is the gratitude practice. So maybe, you know, as I look at this, it needs to be business, it needs to be personal, and it needs to be environment, right? That's something that I really need to work with. So although, you know, I'm so grateful for being here, right, in this place, in this house, in this land, maybe there's more I need to do, right, to be grateful for the ancestors that have lived here before me. You know, that came through really, really strongly, and how they are supporting this journey. So interestingly, prosperity mindset, right? And this is something that I work on all the time, and you know, it really links in with lack and scarcity. So logically, I don't feel that I'm in lack and scarcity, okay, because I have everything that I need. And I'm not just talking about in business, I'm not just talking about in my home or my business. I feel that I have everything. I don't feel that I'm in lack. So I need to really look at what this card is telling me and where my prosperity mindset is. And I think, you know, as I connect into these cards, that there are ups and downs, right? When money's coming in, whether that's through the business or, you know, however money comes in, premium bond wins, whatever it may be. Am I grateful enough? But also, how does the ebbs and flows affect my energy? How does that affect my prosperity mindset, right? And this is something that I work on a lot. So I create different activations, healing journeys, Akashic journeys. I create them for me, right? They're the things that I need to work through, and then I share them with you. So, you know, this has come up. So today I will do my prosperity codes activation to really make sure that there's nothing else there that I need to work with. But I think this is about me stepping more into that prosperity. With that prosperity, it is about visibility, and for me it's about attracting clients that are ready for their healing journey, right? That they are ready to take that next step, right? Understanding is definitely the first step in understanding our patterns and the wounds that we're holding on to. But we need to go further than that, right? Understanding and acceptance are the first parts. But then, you know, this says to me worthiness. It's about that worthiness of taking that next step, of investing in the next part of our journey. So that's something that I need to look at. What do I need to invest in to help me to move forwards, right? And the next card that's come up is Money Alchemy, right? So we've got 3 cards that are about money, prosperity, wealth, and transformation of all of these things. So in order to help me on my journey, I need to step into this prosperity mindset, right? And focus and perhaps use gratitude more for the things that I have around me, the people that I'm connecting with, the money that's coming in, and making sure that with the ebbs and the flows that I am still in this positive mindset, right? But there is work to do because this has come up. There is a transformation that I need to go through in order to help me invest more in my own healing, right? That's really, really important. I need to invest more in my healing, and the things that I invest in for me, right, in my healing journey, are the magic that I then share with you. So, I feel it's important that I'm not coming from a place of, well, this is what I've learned, so here's what you need to do. I am on this journey too, right? I do the activations. I do the readings with the deck. I do the Akashic journeys, and all of those things, so that I am facilitating the healing journey that I want, but also sharing that with you. So the story so far is telling me that I need to embody my own authority and worth first, okay? And to not wait for permission or validation from others, right? And that's really, really important, because I think that there is an element of waiting for validation, right? So that validation may be from the amount of sales that I get, or for the amount of people that I connect with, or whatever it may be. So I need to embody more of my own authority. And then gratitude is telling me to shift from a scarcity mindset, which we have seen with this cards, to appreciate what is already working, right? So although I have the gratitude practice, and I'm grateful for my surroundings, my house, my children, all of those things, I need to be grateful for the things that are working, right? And one of those things is my deck, right? This is so valuable to me. So that's where gratitude is coming in. Prosperity mindset, like, that's the threshold. I can't attract people ready to invest in themselves if I'm still in this lack and scarcity energy, right? I didn't realize that I was in this lack and scarcity energy. So that is something that I really, really need to work on and understand, because logically I don't feel that I'm in that. But that could be a little bit of the prostitution wound, for example, that I'm holding on to. So I'll talk about the prostitution wound in a minute. Money alchemy is really telling me to transform my relationship with money itself, right? To make it sacred, to celebrate everything that is coming in for me, right? And then, lack and scarcity is, that energy that I think we can all be in at times. It doesn't necessarily have to be it's around money. It could be lack around clients. It could be lack of, time with family and partner. And I really feel that that is what is going on for me at the moment, just because lots of craziness going on here, which is all positive, but it is meaning that I'm not getting any time with my partner. Unfortunately, my son's had to cancel coming next week. So there's a bit of that going on. And I feel that lack and scarcity for me is about the relationships that I have in my life. And it has a massive impact on my energy, especially when I can't see the kids when I want to, right? So that's where I feel that's coming in. So everything doesn't have to necessarily relate to money. It's the things or the business or, whatever it is that is going on. It can be in any area of your life, and it can be a mixture of all of those different things. So this is what I'm working through at the moment, is the lack of time with family and the people that are important to me, right? And obviously that has an impact on how I show up and how I show up in my authority. Okay, so the last card that has come up is the Sister Wound card, and I really feel that this is key, right? Because the Sister Wound is all about comparison. It's all about competition. It's about feeling not included, that you don't belong, right? So I feel perhaps some of this is leaking into my energy because I feel I don't have that connection at the moment with this lack and scarcity card, right? And it does mean that because I'm feeling a little bit of this energy, I'm attracting people with this energy. And actually, the quiz has told me that, right? The quiz has told me that so many of you are struggling with the sister wound, with that comparison, with judgment, with not feeling included, with feeling like you don't belong, okay? And, sometimes I do feel that because I'm here, right? I'm in Italy. Most of my clients are UK or Australia, America, right? And there isn't a spiritual community around me. So sometimes I do feel a little bit exiled. not that I have been pushed out, but I have chosen to take myself out of that energy. And, I do sometimes miss this. So, this might be a message to me that I need to build my own community of amazing women that are ready to heal these wounds, that are ready to build that community and stop comparing themselves to others. We're all on a journey. We're all in different places and where we're meant to be, right? So it's very much about perhaps coming together, building that community, letting go of comparisonitis, letting go of feeling judged and criticized and all of those different energies, right? So for me, this reading has been 100% spot on, right? This is what I need to deal with. So today I will go and do some money work, right? For sure. I will do my prosperity codes activation. I will look at my prosperity mindset as well, making sure that I'm celebrating everything that's coming in. I'm going to let go of looking for validation. Okay, that's really, really important. And letting go of asking for permission, right? That's really, really important. I'm here for a purpose and a mission, and I want to share that with everyone. And then I'm going to do the sister wound belonging activation, which is a healing journey actually, as well, because this has come up for me for a reason. So I'm going to work with that energy. So I would love to know what has come up for you today, what really, really resonates with you and where you are on your journey as well, right? These doing readings for yourself, I think, is really, really helpful, especially when the cards go this deep, right? So I have really been thinking about what does it actually take for me to be ready. So I need to step into my authority. I need to look at, the money side of thing, right? And where I am leaking this energy on money, wealth, prosperity, and all of those things. Work with the sister wound to help me to release any lack of connection and feeling that I don't belong, and putting a stronger gratitude practice into place. And that's really going to help me. All of those things are actually going to help me to step into my authority and to stop seeking validation and all of those things. Okay, so I feel I've got a lot to work with this week. Okay, and that's important, right? So that I can start to move forward, so that I can start to be more ready to heal and work with the things that are perhaps stopping me from investing in my own healing. But also it helps me to understand why others are not investing in their own healing, right? And I said I'd talk a little bit more about the prostitution wound. The prostitution wound actually is one of the biggest wounds that are coming up in the quiz. So if you haven't taken the quiz, the link is below to find out what your major wound is, or what your major pattern is, and that would be related to the wound. Now, the prostitution wound is all about overgiving, right? And giving to everyone else. So I am attracting a lot of prostitution wound women that know that they want to step out, they want to really connect in with their clients, build their business, and all of those things. So the prostitution wound is a wounding that we trade parts and pieces of ourselves in exchange for validation, love, recognition, all of those different energies, right? So it is the wound of self-betrayal, because we're putting everybody else's wants and needs before our own, right? So because the prostitution wound tells us that everybody else's wants and needs are more important than our own, that we are here to give, we're not here to receive, and all of those things, what's actually happening is, from my perspective, is I am attracting lots of prostitution wound women that are holding the wound very, very deeply, and it's stopping them from receiving money, but it's also stopping them from investing in themselves. So I'm really feeling that my cards are telling me, obviously, that either this is not my ideal audience, or I need to find another way to interact with them to help them to invest in themselves, to help them to release the need to trade parts and pieces of themselves in order to receive, in order to heal their, transform their money story, right? So these cards are telling me so much, so I'm going to sit with them longer and journal on them to really help me to understand everything. I just wanted to share some of this with you, but I think that, you know, looking at my audience and looking what I am pulling in right now through the quiz, the amazing women that I'm pulling in are mainly, so we have 4 wounds within the quiz. So we've got the witch wound, who are physically scared of being seen, persecuted and tortured, and that perhaps are too scared to invest in themselves. I have the priestess wound, who these amazing women are emotionally afraid to invest in themselves. The prostitution wound, who don't feel worthy of investing themselves, and the sisterhood wound, who feel that they don't belong enough to invest in themselves. So I'm really going to look more deeply into this. The sister wound has come up, so I need to understand why women holding the sister wound are not ready to invest in themselves and are not ready to step back into belonging, right? All of these wounds that we're holding on to come from mostly past lives, right? And experiences that we've had, that our ancestors have had, that we no longer need to hold on to, right? Because, you know, if you're a witch, you are not going to be persecuted. If you are a priestess, you're not going to have your gifts suppressed. If you are, you're holding the sister wound, right? We don't need to compete with others anymore. There are enough people on the planet. There are, you know, we all have our own gifts and talents and all of those things, and we are here to call in the right people to work with us. There is enough for everybody to go around, and you know that clicks in quite nicely with the gratitude energy. There are enough people. We do not need to compete with each other anymore. We do not need to judge each other anymore. We need to come together as women, as a sisterhood, to work on different aspects, like releasing all of these male energies, so the masculine energy that tells us that we should be in competition with each other, that tells us that our powers should not be used, whether that's a witch or a priestess, right? So that they're either dangerous or they become too emotionally overwhelming, right? So this is stuff that we need to work on together. So healing the sister wound is really, really important. healing the prostitution wounds, right? So that you can receive more, so that you're not giving away, you're not trading parts and pieces of yourself and becoming not whole, right? Is going to be important in changing what we're seeing in the world, right? So I've got more work to do with these cards. Let me know how this reading resonates with you. What are you working through within this area as well? Okay, so I also just wanted to say, I'd love to hear from you, but I created this deck. So this is the Akashic Soul Alchemy Oracle deck for myself, right? I'm always in my own healing journey, and I have come on leaps and bounds because these cards are not gentle with me. They tell me what I need to know. So I created them to navigate my own wounds, my own money blocks, my own invisibility, and I needed a way to talk to the Akashic Records in a quicker way, right? In a way that didn't involve the deep grounding meditation, going into the Akashic Records, meeting my guides, and doing a long meditative session, right? I needed quick answers. So I created the deck, right? To really understand what's going on beneath the surface, right? And they really become the conversation. They become the story, right? Literally, they lay out the story for me of what's going on, and they're not things that I could necessarily see for myself going into my own Akashic Records and doing a meditative journey and things like that. So I discovered that these were definitely the medicine that I needed, but they're the medicine that so many other amazing women need as well. So let me know what resonated. Are you ready for your own healing journey? And perhaps, what do you need to do to become ready for your own healing journey? Do you need to step into your own inner authority and stop waiting for permission and validation, right? So have an amazing week. Feel free to connect to me through my Facebook group, Messenger, email. I'd love to support you. I'd love to know where you are on your journey, and if this reading helped you as much as it did me. Have an amazing week. Ciao for now.